Welcome to the McKinley Diaries 21 years on with myself, Nigel Vardy. We're now on day 13, the 12th of May, 1999. And once again, an early start ended up being a late one. We're supposed to rise at 7 o'clock in the morning, and Steve awoke me with great consternation saying, Nige, it's 8 o'clock. We'd slept through the alarm. The stove was on in a shot, and we had to get cracking and we had to get away. The sun beamed over camp, but not on it, with the temperatures still being bitterly freezing. I thought of last night's beautiful sunset and really hoped for more. It had been truly stunning. Both ourselves and our American counterparts were descending today for our caches, and then the plan was to obviously get back up to tents and further on if we could. And we both spoke to each other on how we're going to best achieve this together without firstly being in each other's way and being a danger to each other, but we'd built quite a friendship up. And so we worked out the best way of carrying it out. Of course, there is the old phrase that too many cooks spoil the broth. So we worked our best plans out together, got our gear together, and away we went and laid whatever equipment and protection we needed to get safely down. The Americans followed, and within an hour we were actually at our own cache. It was higher than the Americans' team. But we grabbed our gear, but it was already past midday at this point. That time really is moving on. And we wanted to push further up the hill that day, so we started getting our gear together. The Americans had to go further down for their cache, and we left them to it. We packed whatever we'd got and headed back up to camp and replenished food, stoves, fuel, personal possessions and such. And there's a little comment here that you really won't see in a modern expedition diary now. I'm running short of 35mm film, and I'm having to go through my head what shots to take and when. Modern digital SLRs and data cards can take a huge quantity of image. We had 38 shots on a roll and a few rolls each, and we really had to think what pictures we'd take, rather than some machine gun action of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of frames for later when we got back. As it says here, there aren't many shops at 13,000 feet. Well, I'll give you that. Anyway, after a spot of dinner, we set off up the hill with our surplus supplies ready to put a higher cache in. And the bags were very, very heavy, and I led the way, clanking away with a menagerie of snow stakes. These are things about 2-3 feet long, T-shaped aluminium stakes you physically bash into the ground to belay on, ice screws and other varying metalwork rattling like a scrap man. It was a hell of a slog, firstly over an ice dome, then a snow-covered ridge in almost zero visibility. And the altitude was starting to tell. I puffed and panted and fought for every step. Eventually, we reached an ice plateau, poorly lit by a milky sun and covered with plastered cloud, and we thought we were at about 14,000 feet, and that would do. We dug the cache in, which it says here was very easy compared to the journey itself, but I felt really cold, and I really hurried the lads on, come on, let's get down, and we piled back down as fast as we could together over the dome, and got back to tents about 8:30. The sun eventually cleared, and the cloud eventually cleared. I can't even read my own handwriting, it was that scrawled. And the sun came out, well, hey, but it was obviously late in the day. It wasn't quite the sunset of the day before, but it was still very, very beautiful. But it did allow us to at least look up the mountain at where we'd come from, and it looked really quite technically difficult. Well, we're here to face it. Tea soon came, along with a dram or two, of course, and then into down kit and off to bed. And I lay there thinking of the day gone by. We'd worked very hard, got a long way up the hill. And even now, and now, 21 years on, I really sometimes have a major issue with confidence. And it says here that I lay talking to Steve, and he seems to think I'm doing excellently well, really, and making a hell of a mountaineer of myself, which is a lovely comment from a very, very, very experienced climber like himself.